Okay, so welcome to the channel. Today was a very, very eventful one. So I had the choice of going to either Haringey Borough, who were playing in the FA Cup against Yeovil, or coming to Spurs, as you see right behind me here, to see us play Watford at home. Now the reason it was 50-50 because obviously I wanted to support Haringey Borough, my uncle's the chairman, and I wanted to see if they could get to the next round of the FA Cup because it's a massive tie. But I figured the rest of the family were there, and I thought I would come here with my cousin. We would represent Spurs while the rest of the family were over there. But like I said, it was a very eventful day. First of all, Spurs were shambolic, but there was also crazy moments in the Haringey Borough game where the game ended up being abandoned, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, we're going to start with Spurs. So I'm going to do the video a bit different today. I'm just going to talk through the events and then cut to the moments that those happened, and it's just very frustrating. We started this game off with not our best team. We started with 5 at the back. I don't know why we're doing 5-3, whatever you want to call it, against Watford at home. A team where we probably should have had forwards in there and just destroy them. Don't know why we had this kind of defensive mentality of 3 centre-backs, and it just seemed like a waste. It was a waste of space when that meant that Son and Ndombele were on the bench, two of arguably our best players so far this season. So that meant that the first half was absolutely terrible, and there was nothing to talk about from a Spurs point of view. All of the action was with Watford, and it was one of the worst first half performances I've ever seen. Now, the moments leading up to their goal, I don't understand what Danny Rose was doing. The ball went over his head and he just let it go past him. Didn't even try to get there, in my opinion, or it didn't look like he did. They were able to put a ball in, and even though we had those 3 centre-backs on, somehow Doucouré managed to go into the centre of the box by himself and just finish it home. Far too easy, and honestly, just reeks of just bad defending. And I feel like players like Rose, Vertonghen and Toby are just getting on a bit, and we all know that Aurier is very, very inconsistent and not a great player either. I feel like the whole defence needs to change up, but this was my reaction in the stadium. How the hell did Danny Rose just let him cross a ball in like that, and he was able to cross it into a 3-player first time finish? Who was it that scored? Doucouré? No.
First goal for Watford, scored in the 6th minute from number 8 at the top of the...
We are embarrassed at the moment. Completely Danny Rose's fault. What's the point of having 3 centre-backs as well if none of them come out the running man? It's a joke. Ah, here we go again, on the back foot. Fantastic. Now, the next thing that they had was in the first half, and that was, honestly, I think they should have had a penalty. It was crazy. Like, me and my cousins were like 30 rows behind it, and we could see it as clear as day. I'm scrolling through Twitter, and everyone is saying blatant penalty. Everyone in the BT Sports studio, including the referee that was in there to confirm VAR decisions, also said he doesn't know why it was given. But again, these are the moments and reactions of the moment where realistically Watford should have had a penalty in the first half. Oh my God, that's a penalty. Oh, that's 100% penalty.
That's a definite penalty.
But that actually is.
That's a definite penalty.
You see him right in front of us. That's 100%. He will give it. It's going to go VAR. He's going to give that pen. So Tomlin slid in, got nowhere near the ball, took him out of the legs, felt like that's a penalty.
That's a penalty.
Oh.
Jan's like telling Gaza to hurry up.
He knows he is. If he doesn't, it just shows how bad officials are, or the VAR is.
Yeah, that's a clear penalty.
We can see it from here, and we're like 30 rows away from it.
Tomlin knows it as well.
He does know it. He said he wants to do it. He knows it. No way. How are they not giving that 100% penalty? It's useless. That is useless. Wow. Clearest penalty all day, and VAR has not given it. It's against my team, and I can admit that was just awful. So that was pretty much all the action for the first half. We move on to the second, where things started to pick up a little bit. It got a little bit better when Son came on at half-time. He looked like the only one that was willing to drive forward, but again, the chances weren't really presenting themselves. It was the case of we were shooting and everything was getting blocked. Like, there was no real clear effort from any of our players. Again, like, for most of the second half, there was hardly anything to talk about. Then we finally eventually get a goal from Dele Alli now, and then this obviously went to VAR check as well because they thought it was a handball. I haven't seen the incident back myself, but here is the reaction to the goal. Who's that goal, Dele? Yes! Better not disallow that. Better not. Wow, great. I managed to celebrate for all 3 seconds. How long does it take? For the handball, it's not. Get on with it. Come on! Get in! That's what I'm talking about. And they said no goal up there. said no goal, but he's given it, so I don't know what that was all about. But it's fine. Come on! Right, 1-0, that's it. 5 minutes to go, if that. Momentum's got to come with us. Come on! Come on! Let's get going. How is it going back to me?
The goal, yeah!
There we go, alright.
That was a mistake.
They got the screen wrong, that's fine. But what the hell? What a shambles that all was. Let's go, come on! That's what I'm talking about! Let's go! Now, as you've seen from all that reaction, like, it's just the annoying thing with VAR is you're not allowed to celebrate anymore. I celebrated for like 3 seconds, saw the referee was checking something, and had to stand there for 2 minutes. While the screen then decided to say decision no goal, even though the ref said goal, and then it corrected itself and said goal in the end. But the whole thing was just a complete shambles. VAR has been shambolic. But either way, we get a goal back, but it took us 85 minutes to equalise against a Watford team that conceded 8 against Man City. If that doesn't show you the difference in the level of the teams at the top, then I don't know what will, because honestly I thought it was awful. But after that, for like the last 5-10 minutes, we kept on trying. It was attempt after attempt. We really thought there might have been a moment where we could have broken it down, but it wasn't to be. And that was just completely frustrating. So that was Spurs, completely shambolic all over. I think defensively the rework. But now on to Haringey Borough. We've seen so much racial abuse talk and all of this towards players, especially with England in the international break recently. I'll leave a link to Thogden's video because he covered that game very well, talking about the racial abuse and everything else happened towards the players. But what happens is that we being Haringey Borough, considered a penalty against Yeovil. I think it was taking them so long to take it, but not only that, Valerie, the goalkeeper, black goalie, was getting abused racially and was having water bottles, or was having bottles, these missile type objects being thrown at him, being racially abused as well. And even the Yeovil fans, to be fair, some of them were saying that we should try and kick him out. Stewards tried to, they weren't budging. Apparently police needed to be called, but either way, the Haringey Borough players walked in and refused to come out, and thank God for that. Like, they shouldn't have taken any sort of racial abuse at all. And I think it's disgraceful for those few fans from Yeovil that travelled all this way to then racially abuse one of our goalkeepers. And this is becoming it was always a serious issue, but it's just becoming so much more apparent now. And especially in the day of social media, how, I don't know how the fans think they can get away with it. Like, I mean, BT Sport reported it, it's blown up all over Twitter and whatnot. And it's just honestly a shame why people feel the need to be racist nowadays. Fair play to Borough for walking off and abandoning the game. We're going to find out what happens there. It just needs to stop. There's literally no need at all for any sort of abuse to any player racially. This harassment needs to stop. And I'm glad that the players are actually finally taking a stand and walking off the pitch and not taking it anymore, because something seriously needs to change. And I want you guys to comment down below how we could change this situation, or what do you think needs to be done, whether that be through the FA or the leagues or whatever, about racial abuse, because it seems to be happening on a weekly occurrence, whether that's club football or England. But yeah, it's a shame to see all of that today. Very, very, very negative day of football. But I want to hear what all of you think. Make sure to like the video and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Peace.
No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star.